Good to see you again. So where do you go when you're going fishing on the beach? If you're new to sea fishing or you're thinking about it, this might be a video that's perfect for you. One of the places you first want to try, I suggest, is a beach like this, an open beach. This is at Cleveland's, which has got a nice bank, some stones, pebbles, a beach, and then different features that you won't be aware of. But what we're going to do now is talk about those features that you might not be aware of. That's what we're going to do. Now, this is one of the little secrets of sea fishing, especially surf fishing. It's to find areas of the beach that the water is flooding in. As you can see here, this is actually a flooding channel now, a gully that's coming in and pushing all the debris, the fish, the bass, the plaice, everything into where it needs to be fishing. If we look down this part of the beach now, you can see little gullies starting to form, but then we've got this massive sandbank over there. So that's where the rays and everything comes over into the gully that I'm going to be fishing. It's just over there. So from here, this gully here to that gully there is nearly 300 yards. So I'm not going to be able to hit that area, but I can get into the gully past that point over there, which is going to be about 150 yards. That's quite a chuck. So I'm going to opt to fish behind me in the gully over there at the bottom of the beach, at the shelf of the beach, where the water's going to rush in on high tide, and along that gully is where the bass, the whiting and flounders will go in to try and pick the crabs, the small crustaceans, the shrimp at the bottom of that shelf. Let's have a look along the beach so you can see what I'm talking about. Now, over there you can see the sandbank. You see it there? There's the sandbank, and this is the gully which is coming in. Can you see it? And that's the ocean. It's currently flooding in, as you can see here. These are the kind of things you need to look for when you're doing this kind of fishing. Very important that you find them. It's coming in at a heck of a rate as well. So while I've just been standing here now, a couple of minutes, it's coming already about 2 or 3 meters. Gives you an idea. So when you're fishing a low water mark as well, be careful, because these gullies can fill in behind you very quickly, and that is a concern. Now, some guys fish the gullies all the way back, going for the fish that's travelling along the gullies. That's one little tip. It took me a couple of years to realise that. Again, if you look here, there's a groin there, big long sandbar, some guys playing golf just back there. And this is the second gully. Now, when you go out on a low water mark like this, this is Cleveland's beach. There's parts of the beach which is where all the worm are. You know, your blowhug, your yellowtail, that kind of thing. That's where people pump the baits from. So low water mark on this, especially at night, is fantastic at low water, because you're fishing over them worm beds. That's one of the areas you want to be fishing. Got to be careful now because it's starting to fill in behind me, as you can see. So it also doesn't need to be that complicated. Keep your rigs simple, a running lead, a worm baits are good, nice and simple rigs, fishing off the shoreline, but fishing to them gullies. If you can fish into them gullies, that'll be a fantastic tip for you. Now, this is another feature to come to. On this beach, if you cast far enough, you can come past the actual first gully and fish right on the top of this sandbar here. If you can fish on the top of here, the rays will come up in here. Flat fish like to cover the sand and go over, then go onto the rough ground, picking the shrimp up, crustaceans that are in the water. And if you can do that effectively by understanding it, you've got a better chance. Now, sometimes you fish, there's just no fish there. It just works that way. But most of the time, by following those simple principles of finding gullies where the water travels in, sandbars just at the back of the gullies, you've got a good chance of catching. You really have. Now, these are the kind of places I'm looking for, within casting distance from the shoreline. I'm looking for these strips of water that fill in behind me, plenty of rocks, slightly rough ground, which is nice and clear, and the bass the cod and everything like that will travel not too far from the shore along that. And that goes right the way down. That's back 5 bar gate over there. It goes out to sea like the gully we've just been looking at. Fantastic little spot. Now, as you can see here, there's the sandbar. You come over the race, come over the sandbar, feed in that kind of area. Everything that comes up the beach gets washed back out into the sandbar, and they pick up the bits and pieces. Along this area, in a slightly rough ground, I want to be fishing in there and try and pick a fish up. Now, my suggestion is, before you start fishing and you get the chance, have a look and find out where all these gullies are, because it's imperative that you look and find out. One little note here is they change week in, week out, depending on the storms that hit the beach. So where you find a little pot of treasure one week, the next week it's completely gone. I found that in the last year as well. And this is why I'm finding sea fishing really exciting. It's never the same each day. It's fun, it's exciting, you don't know what you're going to catch. On this little mark I'm fishing now, going to be fishing tonight. The first time I fished this beach, caught a taupe. Little pup taupe, about so big, I caught a taupe. The next time I come, I caught a ray, nearly 10 pound thornback. And we've had bass, we've had cod, whiting, plaice. It's brilliant. And there's also smooth hounds coming this beach as well. So bear in mind where you're fishing, check the marks out. They call them marks, by the way. It's like a mark on the map if you don't know. And just come down and enjoy yourself. That's that.